Welcome to another video from Peter Twig Meditation. In this video we ask, can meditation put people at risk? It's regrettable to say that some small groups of people are at risk from meditating. Today I'm going to talk about two groups of people who are at risk, however, depending on their doctor's advice, may also actually benefit from meditation. Let me explain. Before I do, however, I want to acknowledge that mainstream psychiatry and psychology since the 1970s have had this growing awareness that meditation and mindfulness can be beneficial for people with mental health issues. There are provisos, however. Let's look at the meditation perspective. Meditation provides you with a profound interaction with yourself. By meditating, you may get in touch with buried and suppressed emotions. Meditation can trigger waves of stress-inducing anger, sadness, grief, fear, or other emotions which have been sitting deep within you. This can be very confronting. It's important that people with mental health vulnerabilities have mechanisms in place when these emotions do come up so that they can move through and deal with or resolve them. These emotions tend to come back if they don't get resolved. You can certainly maintain a meditation practice and eventually these emotions will subside. However, that can take a long time, and the nature of the mind suggests that a particularly strong emotion, never looked at, becomes like a hidden room in your house, one that never gets cleaned or looked at. That implies at some stage the emotion may be triggered and burst out at some time. If the emotional reaction is strong enough, it may trigger the meditator to avoid meditation altogether. There are other more severe reactions that can happen. From a spiritual perspective, sitting still in meditation brings you in contact with spiritual fire, one of the spiritual principles upholding our world. The more still we sit, the more this cooking process is unleashed, where the layer of consciousness that represents your thoughts and emotions starts to cook. Emotions, called samskaras in Sanskrit, begin to erupt. I've talked about it in previous videos. There's a link at the end of this video and in the card up on the top corner here. It's important to understand that prolonged or intense meditation practices can trigger intense emotional reactions very quickly. Looking at the two groups of people who may be at risk, the first group are people who suffer from schizophrenia or psychosis. Psychiatrists suggest schizophrenia is a group of psychiatric disorders usually characterized by psychotic behavior, including delusions, hallucinations, withdrawal from reality, and disorganized patterns of thinking and speech. There may well be a genetic component to the illness. Schizophrenia is usually treated with a combination of medicine and cognitive behavioral therapy tailored to each individual. In most cases, this will be antipsychotic medicines and cognitive behavioral therapy. In intense meditation, the danger exists that people who have no suspected risk of schizophrenia or psychosis can suddenly be triggered into episodes without warning. This can happen with the general population at large. Between 1 out of every 200 to 300 people internationally are at risk for schizophrenia, for example. In the US, that figure is slightly lower. The sad thing is that schizophrenic people can be attracted to spirituality as somehow they recognize that their illness has a spiritual component to it. And that may well be true. Intense meditation can trigger seemingly normal, healthy people into schizophrenic or psychotic episodes at any time. Regrettably, I have seen that happen. The spiritual perspective is that these unfortunate people suffer terribly from delusions caused by, again from a spiritual perspective, a fracturing of the mind that is taking place. That fracturing of the mind opens them up to spiritual realities which, untrained or not having context or understanding of what they are perceiving or seeing happen, become extremely difficult to deal with. The mind is unable to comprehend and make sense of what they perceive. Schizophrenics can end up committing suicide. So for people suffering from a history of schizophrenia or psychosis, based on the research, a cap to the amount of time spent meditating should be a maximum of 20 minutes per day. The paradox here is that these people recognize that they have a spiritual problem and are attracted to meditation and meditation schools as a place to resolve their problem. The good news is that medical research is showing that meditation and/or mindfulness practices, accompanied by grounded body practices such as Tai Chi or yoga, can be very beneficial in helping to reduce the severity and frequency of episodes and symptoms. The famous psychiatrist Stanislav Grof has pioneered a branch of psychology called spiritual emergence to help people manage their mental health to recovery. The solution for these people lies in getting correct medical guidance, medication if required, and to engage in grounding activities such as physical labor, exercise, eating meat, drinking coffee. The second group are people who are vulnerable or not grounded. Meditation requires a certain vigor and well-being. Ironically, when people start to meditate, it often brings a groundedness and well-being. If, however, that vulnerability or lack of grounding is based on some sort of psychological wounding, it's preferable that these people get some sort of counseling or psychological help before they engage with meditation. Meditation should be considered if you are one of the crowd of people who are just normally neurotic. Given that humanity has reached a very personal stage of evolution, it's kind of safe to say that that is most people. Now, sorry if this was a bit of a heavy topic, but it is important. It's good to know that meditation has been practiced for thousands of years, and the many participants in meditation have found amazing benefits from it. I will be following up on this video with another called Drugs and Meditation. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Stay tuned for more tips, techniques, and context to help you achieve more out of your meditations. Thanks for watching.